Hello, sweet friends. Thank you for stopping by Lavender and Lace. I am Alicia, and I have several budget-friendly fall DIYs for you guys today. Most of these projects were used with things that I already had on hand in my craft stash, and I even went outside and collected some materials for one of these projects, so I think you're really going to like all of the ideas that I have for you today. And we've been getting some cooler weather here lately. Me and my daughter like to go on walks early in the morning, so we've been having to wear our jackets and our gloves because it's been a little bit chilly. I would love to know if you guys are getting some glimpses of fall where you live. And if you like farmhouse decor, rustic DIYs, simple and easy crafts, I hope you will consider subscribing if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up, and without further ado, let's get started with today's projects. I like to keep several of the Dollar Tree signs in my stash for projects. They work great as blanks, except for the fact that they love to cover these with glitter. I don't know why they feel like they have to do that. I hate glitter. It just gets everywhere and it takes me forever to get it cleaned up. But for this one, I just started by removing those tags and flipped it over so I could start painting the back. I just did one light coat of my Waverly chalk paint in the color plaster. I didn't even go all the way to the edges because I will be covering those up just a little bit later on. And I wanted some of that brown wood tone to show through. And I know I have mentioned quite often in my videos that I love Creative Fabrica. This is just a great website where you can find all kinds of graphics, SVG files, fonts, anything that you might need for your projects. And I do pay for the yearly subscription, so I will use this a lot for projects and DIYs. I just want to get my money's worth for that. And you can just type in any search word. I just typed in fall, and there were so many different options that popped up that you could choose from. And I will just scroll through these and add these to my favorites, and then it's just super easy to download these and add them to all of my Cricut folders that I have. And I like to keep those organized as well. It just makes my projects go a little bit quickly and smoother. And I just picked out this font that I liked a lot and added that to my Cricut design space. It's just super easy to go in there and upload your files. And I don't know why these always pop up huge, but you always have to go resize those so that they will fit your project. And then I also added a square that was the size of my sign. And I just changed the background color of that. It just made it a little bit easier for me to see my fonts. And I played around with the sizing on that and got it ready to be cut out. And I forgot to save this file, and I was not able to send that to my maker until I did that, so just keep that in mind. Sometimes I get ahead of myself and forget to save my projects. And for this one, I am using Dollar Tree vinyl to cut out a stencil. I just chose premium vinyl and less pressure because the Dollar Tree vinyl is a little bit thinner, so I just wanted that to work well with my maker. And I learned this trick a couple of years ago, just to remove your mat from your vinyl instead of pulling that vinyl off the mat. That just helps keep your vinyl from rolling back up on you. And I just trimmed off any of the excess from this design, and I will just set that aside to use for another project. And since this is a stencil design, I just reverse weeded that, and that is, I just removed all of the vinyl from the actual text part of this design. Just be careful when you are reverse weeding that you make sure that you leave the centers of your O's, your A's, your R's, your P's, all of those letters. And I love using this paper transfer tape for any project that has paint on it. It's just very low tack, so it won't remove any of that paint that you have worked hard to put down. And I get mine from Expressions Vinyl. Well, this last roll I bought a couple of years ago, so it's lasted for a very long time. You could also pick that up on Amazon if you wanted to. And once I get my paper transfer tape applied to my vinyl, I just carefully remove that backing from my stencil. And this Dollar Tree vinyl, the centers of those letters did want to pull up, so I was just careful with that as I removed that transfer, or the backing, excuse me, off of my stencil. And the only downside to this paper transfer tape is that it does make it hard to see your background for your project. So it was just a little difficult for me to get this centered on that sign, but I did the best that I could. I think I did a pretty good job on that. It doesn't look to be crooked anyway once I get this sign finished. And then I just removed that transfer tape. I like to keep that as close to the surface as possible and just remove that on an angle. And I will be using a couple of different colors for this stencil. So I just used some washi tape to tape off some of those fonts that were close to that autumn word. And I am using some apple barrel paint in the color Harvest Orange and some Crafters Collection paint in black. And that Crafters Collection paint you can get at Hobby Lobby for 49 cents. So that is a really good deal, and it's a lot cheaper than the apple barrel paint. And I had also picked up some of these stencil brushes from Hobby Lobby, and I hadn't had a chance to use them before this project, so I thought this would be a great opportunity to try those out. And I did 2 coats of that orange color. And then I just carefully removed that washi tape, and this washi tape actually pulled up just a little bit of my paint, and it wanted to pull up the centers of my letters. And then I just switched to a bigger stencil brush to do the larger area in black. And I actually didn't really like these stencil brushes. That smaller one seemed to work a little bit better than this larger one. I think it might be because those bristles were really stiff on this one. It just did not spread that paint like I wanted it to, and I had a hard time getting it in all of the areas of these letters on my stencil. So I actually just switched to using one of my smaller foam pouncers, and that worked better for me. It just went quicker getting the paint in all of the areas, and I got a better even coverage with that. And then I just took my small heat gun and just dried that for maybe 30 to 45 seconds just to get a lot of that wetness out of the paint before I started removing the stencil. And this Dollar Tree vinyl tears and rips very easily, so that did make removing this a little bit more challenging, but I just kept working with that and tried to keep it from smearing as I pulled that up. And then I just used some of my Cricut tools to help remove the vinyl that was left in the centers of the letters and some of the other areas that hadn't completely removed. I started by using those tweezers, and I thought those would work really well. But with some of those areas, it was just hard to get a hold of that vinyl and move it up. So I did just switch to one of the weeding tools, and that worked well for this project. I always feel like a surgeon or a dental hygienist or something when I'm using those tools for the smaller areas of vinyl like that. And I wish I would have done this next step first. I just took some scrap craft paper that I had on hand to just cover the back of that and cover up all that glitter. If I would have done that in the beginning of this project, I wouldn't have had as much glitter on my work surface. I just cut out a couple of different pieces of that craft paper to put on the back of this sign, and I just applied that using an Elmer's glue stick. So if you do this project and you have one of these very glittery signs, you might want to cover that up first before you start working on it. And just to finish off the edges, I took some of this cotton cording that I always keep on hand and just went around the edges and attached that with some hot glue. And I picked this up at Hobby Lobby, and I actually use this for crochet projects when I make earrings. It comes in a lot of different colors, and it works great for projects like this. And I also had a smaller size in a navy color, and I just went around on the inside edge of that brown cording and just put some hot glue and glued that down as well. And I've seen some other crafters do this technique. I just did a double knot with some of that navy cording and just trimmed it very close to that knot and just glued those on the front of this sign. That just gives you the illusion that your cording is going all the way through your sign. And I just tried to line up the cord on the back of my sign and just hot glued that down. And then I just trimmed up some of the jumbo popsicle sticks and put that on the cording with some hot glue as well, just to give that some extra security. And this sign is done and ready to go, and I think it is super cute. What do you guys think about this one? Do you ever start a project with one idea in mind and then completely change course? That's exactly what I did with this one. I started out by laying out these wooden planks that I had got from the Dollar Tree just to see kind of the placement that I wanted and to see if the smaller one would fit on the back. And while I was doing that, I just completely saw something different in my mind that I wanted to do with these. So I started with 4 of those longer wooden planks from the Dollar Tree and just used some of the wood glue, super glue, and some hot glue to attach those together. And since these were Dollar Tree, they did not fit perfectly together. So I just went on the back side and filled in some of those larger cracks with some hot glue and took 4 of my jumbo popsicle sticks and just trimmed those down to fit and just glued those down with some hot glue to make sure these planks would stay together. And then my assistant, my daughter Gracelyn, wanted to help with this project a little bit, so she helped by mixing up some paint colors to paint the bottom portion of this. And we just took some white and orange and some yellow and just mixed those together until we got a color that we were happy with. And then I just took that shorter wooden piece that's going to be the hat brim for my scarecrow. That's what we're making. And then I just made some marks across the top to just give me a guide to go by while I was painting. And I just did, well, I did actually 2 coats on the bottom because we had mixed up enough paint to do that. And then I just took my Waverly chalk paint in the color truffle, did 1 coat on the top and 1 coat on his hat brim. And then I looked up some scarecrow faces on Pinterest and just got an idea of one that I wanted to do. And I just traced out his facial features with a pencil. Before we started painting, I just did his eyes, his nose, and his mouth. And then we just went in with some acrylic paint and filled in his eyes with the black. And my assistant is helping once again with this. You will kind of see us change in and out from doing some of these different steps. And I just used an orange acrylic paint for his nose. I wish I would have used my chalk paint. I did have to do 2 coats with this acrylic paint. and I'm sure if I would have started out with the chalk paint, I would have only had to do one. And then I just took one of my black acrylic paint markers. These are the Artistro from Amazon. I will link those in the description box for you guys. I really like these paint pens. They work really well for small, fine details like this on your projects. And then I just went back in and put some smaller stitching lines across his mouth, and he's looking so cute already. I had so much fun with this project, and I know exactly who I will be giving one of these to as a birthday gift this year. And then I just took some white acrylic paint and a raspberry colored paint and mixed up a light pink for his cheeks. And I just took one of my small stencil brushes and just swirled that on lightly. And then just went back in with my white acrylic paint marker and just gave him a little bit of detail and highlights. And just used that black paint pen again and highlighted his nose and outlined that to give it a little bit more definition. And then I had some raffia that I had picked up from Hobby Lobby and just took some hot glue and glued that all across his forehead. And then I just glued down his hat brim with some hot glue. And I love how he is looking so far. I wanted something kind of whimsical to add to my fall decor. I didn't have anything like that, and I thought this would be a perfect touch. Then I just trimmed up his hair. I left it kind of longer on the sides and a little bit shorter in the middle, and I did leave a few longer pieces over his eyes. I just thought that made him look super cute. And initially I was not going to do any distressing on this piece. My daughter was like, no, just leave him as he is. He's super cute, but I just couldn't leave it alone. So I did a little bit of distressing on his hat. I just thought that gave it some more depth and dimension. And then I just played around with some things that I had in my stash to embellish his hat. I didn't want to do a lot because I thought he was pretty cute as is. But I had this leather leaf and an acorn in my stash that came from the Dollar Tree and just hot glued those down on the corner there. And then I just added a little bit of Spanish moss around that leaf and acorn, and then I just did a little bit more in that top right corner. And my scarecrow is finished. He is so cute. I just thought he turned out really good. I had a lot of fun with this one. What do you guys think about him? I told my daughter that he was a cutie patootie. She loved that one. This next idea is a Dollar Tree window cling hack for you guys, and it is so quick and easy that if you blink, you might miss it, so be sure that you stick with me. I found several sheets of these this week at my store, and I just loved all of the different designs and the colors and the fonts. I especially liked this one that had the Harvest Blessings and the Hello Autumn and Fall Y'all. I just thought that one was really cute and would match my decor style really well. But just a simple, easy way that you can use these window clings is you can just change them out on some of the glass or plastic plates that Dollar Tree carries. I have these green ones that are glass, and then I also have some of the gray and white buffalo check ones in the plastic. These window clings stick a lot better to the glass plates, but they do stick to the plastic ones. Sometimes you just have to press that down for a couple of minutes and smooth it out, and then they will stick to those. I had some up last year, and they stayed on throughout the entire season. But this is just a really easy way to add some beautiful color to your fall decor. And you can change these out if you get tired of one of the designs, and even have your kids do this for you. If you have a lot of buttons in your craft stash, then you will definitely want to make this project. I actually had a sweet friend send me the idea for this one, and I had this picture frame stand in my stash, and I picked that up on clearance at Hobby Lobby, and I just removed the little clip hanger and will save that for another project. And then I had this fall scrapbook paper pack that I got from Michael's a couple of years ago when it was on sale. And I just picked out one of those patterns that I thought would work well for this project and just sized that to my frame and cut that out. And then I just used my sanding block and sanded down around the hole where that screw, I took that out. It had just left a little bit of rough edges there. And then I used an Elmer's glue stick and put down a liberal amount because I wanted to make sure that this paper stuck well to that picture frame. And if I had to do this project over again, I might only use just the wood portion of that paper and just cut off the leaves. When you guys see this finished, let me know in the comments if you think I should have just went with the wood part. And I just lightly traced out a template to go by before I started gluing down my buttons. I did the shape of a pumpkin, and then I picked out all of the white buttons from this stash, and I just went with all different sizes, and I put all white down on the background. And these buttons I picked up from an antique store a couple of years ago, and then I have some that were my grandmother's as well that I got when she passed away. She was a seamstress, so she had a lot of buttons at her house. So I just kept filling those in and just used hot glue and just got the shape the way that I wanted. And then I also pulled some of the brownish and orange buttons that I could find and just glued those around in different areas on this pumpkin. I just thought that kind of pulled up some of the colors from the leaves on this paper, and I just kept gluing and adding until I was happy with the way that this looked. And then for my stem, I couldn't decide if I wanted to use the buttons or if I actually wanted to use a wood piece for that. And then I just ended up using the buttons. I thought the wood might make this look more like an apple. So I just took some hot glue once again and just glued those down to the top of my pumpkin. And then I just made a couple of simple shoelace bows. I did one with some of the lace ribbon that you can get from the Dollar Tree and one with some jute twine, and just glued that to the bottom of my stem and just trimmed off the edges. And this one is finished and ready to go. It is so sweet, and I just love the country vibes that I get from this one. And I love how this picture frame already had the kickstand on the back, so this will be super easy to display. What do you guys think about this one? Here's another really quick Dollar Tree window cling hack for you guys. I picked up a couple of their picture frames that they carry, and I just got these white ones because I thought they would match a lot of different decor and different themes that I might do throughout the year. And I also picked just a couple of colors of scrapbook paper, just sized those to fit inside the frames and cut those out. You could easily change these out for each season. Just use some different scrapbook paper and some of the different window clings that you can find. And then I just put the scrapbook paper back inside the frames and picked out some of those window clings that I liked that would fit the front of these and just attach them to that glass. And that is it. Easy peasy and super quick. And that is just a really easy way that you can add some fall decor to any place in your home. Maybe a smaller area that you have that you could stick these to, a desk or some shelves that just need a little bit of fall color. For the last project, I just went on a short walk out our driveway to collect some of my materials. When I was in school, we used to do leaf rubbings. Did you guys ever do those? It was one of my favorite art projects to do, and I thought it would be fun to kind of elevate that just a little bit. So I looked for smaller leaves, and I tried to find ones that had the good ribbing and the veins on the back of these. And I also chose just a smaller piece of fern. I thought that would be really pretty and add some delicate detail to these projects, but sadly that one didn't work out well. So I just picked some pin oak leaves, some maple, sassafras, some birch, maybe a couple of other ones that I don't know exactly what the names are. That'll be something that I need to learn. And then once I had a good selection of leaves, I just brought those back in the house, gave them a quick rinse to remove any dirt, spider webs, or bugs from those. And then I just chose several different colors of acrylic paint to put on the back of these leaves. Make sure you do the back because that will be where all of your good detail comes from. And I just used some of my foam pouncers or paint brushes to do this with. And I actually like the pouncers better. So if I had enough of these, that's all I would use for this project. They just applied the paint more evenly on the back of that leaf, and it seemed to print better. But if you don't have any of the pouncers, feel free to just use the paintbrush or even the foam brushes. And then I just used some watercolor paper to print these leaves on and covered those with a piece of computer paper and used my Cricut brayer to get a good print. And these are absolutely beautiful. I love using all of these different colors. I like that instead of just one solid color. And you could just do an 8.5 by 11, put that in a frame from the Dollar Tree, and that would be an absolutely gorgeous piece of wall art if you wanted to stop there. But I decided to make some greeting cards using this technique, so I just took some of that watercolor paper again, just cut that in half and folded it over, just repeated all of those same steps as before, and this is a perfect way to make these blank greeting cards. You can just put your own message in these, and these would be great for a fall birthday or even as Thanksgiving cards. But let me know what you guys think about this project. It's just one that was really fun. This would be great for your kids to do in a nature journal, and we just had a lot of fun with this one. That wraps up another round of fall DIYs. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like today's projects, and leave me a comment. I would love to know which of these was your favorite and which one that you might try yourself. Please share this video if you know someone that might enjoy seeing these ideas. And I would also love to connect with you on Facebook. I have left the link for that in the description box, and I would love to see you there. And here's some other videos that you might enjoy, and I will see you guys in the next one.